Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Thank you very much for this invitation, Dr. Gano, Professor Reichman, and the staff of IDC and ICT. I hope that we can. I would like to start the PowerPoint. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was really not easy for me to come here. Not only because I am a member of the Kurdish government as advisor, also from the situation because I left the hospital 1 week ago because of my broken leg. I was 4 days ago in Geneva. I gave a statement to the Human Rights Council about the situation, miserable situation of Yazidi community. But the cause why I am here, because I think the best people who can understand what it means genocide of a population, of a nation, is in Jewish state. You have in your history the situation of genocide, Holocaust. You can also understand what it means if the parent lost their children or a child stay without parent. You can also understand when I say there are 3,000 victims, you will not ask me, we calculate mathematically, or we saw our reporters who are sitting 500 kilometers away from the situation or from the local situation in Sinjar, and our reporters said there are only 200, not 5,000. So I think in this country, you know because you saw, or in your history you saw it. Therefore, I am here. And I am here in ICT because the most specialized place how we can stay against terrorism and how can we understand the terrorism. You are also living since 60 years under terror attacks, and I think this is the best place. Well, if we see who is ISIS or IS or ISIL or Daesh, I think we have to ask ourselves 3 questions. Is it a terrorist of a group of terrorists like Al-Qaeda created by an international intelligence agency, or it's a band of gangsters who move on behalf of some paymaster, or it is so-called surviving sect in Arabic, Al-Firqa Najiyah, that was predicted by the mythology of Islam, waving black flags and renewing the glory of Islam, the guardians of the true Islamic ideology and legacy. Once we reach an answer to this question, we will be able to understand better that what happened in Iraq and why IS is committing barbaric crimes against minorities, minority groups, and indeed against humanity itself. So the new caliph in Mosul. Mosul has a very strange history of war, ladies and gentlemen. It seems from the first side to be a city of patriotic community and a traditional conservative resistance, but when the enemy comes, they surrender the enemy peacefully without a fight. This is what happened at the time of Ottomans, the British Army, with the US forces, and they did the same with 300 terrorists of ISIS led by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. But how Sunni people accept the ISIS so easily, so readily? In fact, not only the mentality of Mosul, there are 3 important factors why Sunnis accept ISIS. First of all, the conflict of Shia and Sunni in the Iraqi government, the marginalization from the side of Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki and practicing in his both periods. Mosul also is a biggest Sunni city representing the international axis of Sunnism led by Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. So it was easy for all terrorist groups to have a link with all Sunni politicians without inspection. During the time from 2003 till now, And ISIS were directly and sometimes indirectly supported by these countries, Sunni countries. And the relationship, this is also an important point, relationship between the brothers, Nujayfi, one of them was Speaker of Parliament in last period, the other one was Governor of Mosul. They had a very good relationship with Baas Party members, with Naqshbandiya, with Al-Qaeda, to do their jobs, political job, also economical. So there were a naive plan of Najafi brothers. They thought that they would be able to negotiate with ISIS whenever they want in order to withdraw from Mosul. Najafi dreams with the help of former Baas Party members and Al-Naqshbandi especially, and temporarily with the ISIS, were turned into nightmare because ISIS established its own Islamic State under commando of a caliph who is practicing the traditional Islamic steps like 1,400 years without Najafi and also without Baas Party. Baas Party people were later integrated in ISIS, and Najafi family were outside of the play. So Islamic State started to attack, started attacks against Christianity and Shia Shabak minority, and it was the end of honeymoon. The people of Mosul in the first euphoria phase, especially in the first day, they said everything is okay, no occupation of Shia, Safawi, Irani military, the name of Iraqi military by Sunnis. All streets were free. Even the small Christian community in Mosul, which had a little bit relationship with Baas Party, so they remained in Mosul. They were also happy with new Islamic State. But this, after the new order of Caliph, who announced the Christian were giving three choice in 3 days: Islam or poll tax for non-Muslim or displacement, and the Christian decided to go outside of it. But not only Christian people in Mosul, also the Shia, especially Shabak people from Mosul went out. They suffered too much from ISIS. So there were a shocking reaction. The world realized too late that IS is not only a group of barbaric terrorists working on behalf of a provider, whether Turkey, Saudi, or Qatar. ISIS is now a state with ideological, human, financial resources, and also with a big area across Iraq and Syria, with open area, and expanding. And in the fact, it's currently now occupying up to 4 times the size of Israel. And then there were the distribution of the holy war in the name of Allah. The new state of Allah has very clear strategy eliminating of all others, depending on the historical root on theology of Islam, which return back to the first period of Islam. So the first thing, what they should do, elimination of all infidels like Yazidi. Yazidi people, by the way, for the people who only hear the name of them, is a religion, is an old independent religion, monotheistic religion from Mesopotamia, is about 4,000 years old. They have no holy book. Their religious texts were transferred orally, and it is a non-missionary religion. They are about 500,000 people in Iraq, mostly in Sinjar, about 320,000. And they suffered from 72 massacre against Yazidi, most of them were done by Muslims in the last 14 centuries. There are also another community of Yazidis. There were a massacre in Sinjar on the 2nd and 3rd of August began that ISIS collected its forces in 3 positions around Mountain Sinjar, and they attacked at the beginning 3 Yazidi villages. Unfortunately, there were about 5,000 Kurdish Peshmerga there who didn't fight, they returned back and withdraw without to shoot one bullet, and they returned back to Kurdistan. So the most of Yazidi, the drama began, and there were, in the first day, about 150,000 Yazidi who escaped in the first day to Kurdistan. The rest of them who had no cars and no transporters, about 150,000, they escaped at the beginning to the mountain where no food, no water, because it's a deserted mountain, Sinjar. Unfortunately, the Arab neighbors who live with Yazidi since hundreds of years, they converted within 24 hours to the side of ISIS, and they attack the Yazidi people. They took their women, they kill their elder women, and hundreds of girls were enslaved and raped. I think these are from the first day a map of a collection of, this is a Mount Sinjar. It's about 60 kilometers in the length and about 7 kilometers in the width. And these are the collection of the areas of refugees. The international community it took 5 days until the international community woke up and noticed that the massacre and process of genocide of Yazidi community was begun. But it was too little too late. Yazidi people who live in peace and had till yesterday their own homes, jobs, dream of a future of a new Iraq, were now transferred into a ragtag and homeless, hopeless, and army of refugees. More than the situation now is very painful. We have 300,000 refugees living in a very bad condition. We have 3,000 victims were killed by ISIS, 5,000 women, children, families kidnapped by ISIS, hundreds of girls were sold in different Sunni cities, and only from one village, which is called Kocho, ISIS killed 413 men and kidnapped about 1,000 women and children. This was, by the way, the mistake of President Obama, because he declared one day before that there will be no airstrike in Sinjar, no need an airstrike in Sinjar. ISIS attacked Yazidi and the next day. I would like to tell you or show you some pictures and stories of the victims. I have some time. These are, they left, the victims and refugees left their dead children on the way because they had no way to grave them. And this, it's a video, I don't like to show it. It is, they are trying to, with their own hand, to put their child under the ground of their own hand. In the Chilmera is a region of refugees. Thousands of helpless refugees were waiting only under the trees, which are their shelter. We called this, with our helicopter rescue, we called this valley of death, because we couldn't reach this area. Thousands of the people, we saw also thousands of dead bodies there. This old lady is 81 years old. Her relatives left her there and without help. The children were sleeping on the stones, and this is his dead mother on the way. This is my neighbor. He lost every member of his family. This young lady, she lost her baby on the mountain, but she kept his clothes till she reached Kurdistan. 170,000 refugees who were on the mountain in the first days. They reached over Syria, Kurdistan in 3 days, during this secure corridor, which was secured by Kurdish, Syria Kurdish fighters, YPG and PYD. This is the situation on the Syria border, and many the stories like this you will find. He took his mother more than 100 kilometers And this is the border to Kurdistan and the situation of the family. Well, the situation of the refugees in Kurdish camps. This is unfortunately a medical unit of these refugees. I would like to speak about this pilot. We lost him, unfortunately. These both children, their parent jump or put their children in our helicopter without to come. They couldn't reach us. They pushed them to the helicopter. It took several hours in Zakho until we know what their name, because it was very like this. This is one of the actions of rescue. Hundreds of people attacks our helicopter to jump in. This guy with the I don't know if this guy was with a head cover. He wanted to reach our helicopter. He couldn't. He hauled on a side of helicopter. Unfortunately, he dropped in front of our eyes in a 200-meter deep valley. He was like an Hollywood film. This was our helicopter, which crashed at that time. And this is a child. Unfortunately, he is dead after the helicopter crash. And this woman, we saved her, but her husband fell out of the helicopter. She wanted to jump after. She tried to jump from 2,000 meters several times until we landed, and at least she forced us to take her back to the mountain to join her beloved man. She got only got married only 3 months ago, but now nobody knows whether she managed to find her husband or not. And the only thing this girl held was a piece of bread and a shoe. If you're asking me why shoe, because they were several days alone in the mountain, and their shoes were they had no shoes more, especially the children. So the first thing she thought about is a shoe. Ladies and gentlemen, I think finally it's important thing to say that ISIS is not a simple terrorist group. ISIS is a state. It's not recognized by UN, but it is a state. Has no diplomatic, but has thousands of the volunteer fanatic Muslims overall in this world. They can do everything for it. ISIS has no nuclear weapon, but can make thousands and millions of human bombs and can attack everywhere. I think for the world it's not easy to accept it, and we have to react. And I think it is the responsibility of international community to do something against ISIS. At the last point, I was afraid at the beginning that Israel says ISIS is far away from us. We will not. We have nothing to do with it. I am happy to hear yesterday from most of the top politicians that they realize what we see. But I think the reaction of USA, what Dr. Faher said, the reaction of USA and the international community to say we will fight ISIS, but we will not send our soldiers. It's very bad. Thank you very much again.